3. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Standard right there.
Alrighty. We're going to call the Ravenna City Planning Commission meeting to order. We have a roll call.
Mr. Barber?
Here.
Mr. Content?
Here.
Mr. Hairston?
Here.
Ms. Lodato? Mr. Seaman? Mr. Jennings?
Present.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Finney?
Here. I drew a blank.
Motion to excuse.
Yeah, can we have a motion to excuse Carmen and the mayor?
So moved.
Roll call? Do we need to do roll
All
call?
those in favor?
I'm sorry?
All those in favor?
All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
There is no opposition. All right, so can we have a motion to approve the minutes as in your packet?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? All right then, so that passes. So we're gonna move old business in front of new business. And with old business, we have Dr. Daniel Fields doing business as Fields Psychological LLC, location 612 West Spruce Avenue, requesting conditional use. And in your packet, you will see, if you, I'll refresh your memory. In last year, they presented, I'm looking for the date here, expected, so I guess it would be, yes, the month before November, so that would be October, yeah. So October they presented, and Planning Commission tabled it until they finished their repairs and took up residency. Ron, would you like to further discuss? Would you state your name and address, please?
My name is Ron Fields. My wife Danelle could not be here today, but our address is 612 West Spruce, Ravenna, Ohio. And we're loving it. So
Loving it. All right.
a lot of work, but it's worth it. I particularly enjoy having a 2-minute commute. Very good. But yeah, we've established residency there. We're now full-time in Ravenna.
So the space that she would utilize for her clinics,
Yes.
what, could you explain that part of your house?
Sure. The duplex basically is 612 and then 614, but for all intents and purposes, it's just going to be one residence where we decided not to rent out the other side because we don't like other people and we just want to have, well, we just want to have some space to stretch our legs and so on. But her office area in the back of 612, there is an addition that was built in probably in the 1980s, and it's basically one large room. And we've made that into her office. And joining that is another addition, which was some years earlier, probably in the 1960s. And that houses a kitchen, at that time a dining room, which is now going to be a waiting room. And we've got a first floor bathroom. It's all handicap accessible. We've made sure that everything was ADA compliant. We've got a wheelchair lift and all that good stuff for whenever we have people come in that are older and that may have some mobility issues. In terms of expected foot traffic, it's not changed. We're looking at probably no more than one person a week face-to-face. The rest of it, the bulk of my wife's counseling practice has been in telehealth. So in terms of physical people coming by, we're looking one a week, and that could very well change, especially if she starts seeing more people. It would still only be 1 day a week, so we're looking at 2 or 3 people a day, 1 a week. So a total of about 3 people a week. Parking, there's plenty of it. We've got, it's a 3-car garage. Only 2 of them are actually for vehicles. The other one's a workshop. And there's a carport, and in addition to that, it's got a double lot of a driveway, so there's absolutely no parking issues.
Just to make sure I understand, you would have physical patients there 1 day a week only?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's, so even if you have 2 or 3 patients coming in, it'll still be just for 1 day?
Yeah, because my wife blocks out the rest of her schedule. She's got some recurring telehealth appointments that she does other days of the week.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would love it for her to see patients every day, but she would not love that. It's way too much.
So Ron, you're going to be living in that home now?
Yeah, we're there now.
Okay. I remember discussing that, and our code basically says that if you live in that home, that you can have that business in that home.
It is home sweet home. We still own the other house in Akron, but we're full-time in Ravenna.
So have you converted it back to a single family, or is it still?
Not officially. It's still, we've got 2 water bills, and at some point we might, but for right now, we're just focusing on cleaning it up, basically. It was a mess, but I'm enjoying it.
Was your mother staying there at one point?
Yeah, she's still there.
Okay.
Yep. That's part of the reason why we like to expand. Maybe knock down a wall at some point, but yeah. No, it's all good. We all get along really well.
Are there any other questions? Entertain a motion to approve or to not approve.
Motion approved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, would you take roll?
Okay, so this would be to approve the conditional use home-based business.
Correct.
Tim Content,
Yes.
Bill Barber,
Yes.
Mr. Hairston,
Yes.
Mr. Jennings,
Yes.
and Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Thank you. You've been approved.
All right, thank you.
Ron?
Do I need to stick around?
You don't have to. You're welcome. Unless you want to see the wonderful project that we're going to
coming,
hear
hopefully.
ourselves.
Actually, I think I would.
You're welcome to.
Here's the right ticket.
First off, I'd like to apologize. I thought it was at 7. Just hanging around, but yeah. So I'm here representative of the Ravenna CVOC for the VA. We're looking for site plan approval, and I have a full set of site documents here if you guys need it, and a hydrology report, which I think was already provided to
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Omid Fatimi,
And the firm that you're with?
Engineering Design Technologies, and Dublin EDT, JV LLC.
And you're out of Georgia,
Yes.
correct? Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Oh, go ahead.
So the project that we're proposing is a 17,000 square foot medical office building for the VA. There'll be, my understanding is they'll be moving from their current location to Loomis Parkway, which we will be the developer and landlord for them. It is a 17,000 square foot clinic with 100 parking. It's a community-based outpatient clinic. There will be no overnight stays. Everyone's just going in there for their primary medical needs.
So just to repeat, no overnight. And the patients will be seen specifically for,
A whole host of uses. They will have optometry, prosthetics, I think some mental health, general packed exam, which will be just day-to-day blood draw, neurology, and some pharmaceutical needs.
Physical therapy, I assume, things like that?
Yes, I believe there's physical therapy as well.
Okay. Will the clinic be open 7 days a week,
It will be open 5 days a week,
5 days a week?
yeah, Monday through Friday,
And as you said, there's no overnight.
no overnight. The VA won't be seeing anyone at that location that cannot take care of themselves on a full-time basis.
What will happen with the existing clinic in town?
Unsure. That is the VA's decision there. We don't know anything about the tenant or the landlord in that position, but our assumption would be is that they'll be moving their staff and adding additional staff to the VA clinic on Loomis. So that clinic will shut down, they'll move their services off the street. But that's the VA's discretion. We don't know if they have a lease running concurrent with us or anything like that. They don't share that information.
Will this be a lease to the VA, or will they own this facility?
This will be a lease to the VA. Dublin EDT, or eventually Ravenna CBOC LLC will be the landowner in this project.
What do you value the project cost, overall cost to be?
We haven't gone out to market quite yet, so we don't know what the trades will come in at, especially with all the stuff going on in construction, but we value it probably around shell construction, not including general conditions, that kind of stuff, around $4.5 million construction cost.
Speaking from the engineering department, we've been reviewing the stormwater plans, zoning, setbacks, and that sort of thing, and everything's in check at this point. Is this a standard building that you've been designing for the VA throughout America?
More or less, yes. The VA follows a specific process. The interior of the building doesn't really change all too much, although the exterior might, depending on what the local VA wants. But this is pretty representative of the buildings we've done in Maine, Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia. It's all pretty, it is a nice building, brick, but is representative of everything else we've done.
If we were to get on Google, where could we see this building already built somewhere?
Yes, yeah. Maybe in the newer leases for sure. A lot of the VAs, not to get too in the weeds here, but a lot of the VA's current leases are old, 10, 15, 20 plus years. So this new round of VA clinics that are coming out will be much more modern. But there are plenty of examples that we can send over to you guys of existing buildings that kind of look like this.
Which community or what state would we find those?
There's been a lot put out in Georgia.
Okay.
Might be a little bit biased there. A couple coming out in Tennessee, Kentucky as well. There's been some new construction builds out west, Arizona, and New Mexico as well. Those projects have come on long and delivered at this point.
You guys have questions?
Picture where this fits with regard to existing structures on Loomis.
So where the helipad is for the airport? Almost due north. So due west of the old Dunleavy Insurance. That parcel. Most of that parcel will be utilized. Along Route 14, Lovers Lane, say Dunleavy Insurance.
And Bob, there were no issues with stormwater runoff or any of that? That's all according to the plans look good?
Yeah, yes. So they will be responsible to store the post-rain events versus the pre-rain events. So the retention pond would be built based on that for 100-year rain events, up to 100-year rain events.
There's no wetlands in this area.
Correct.
That's across the street to the other spot.
This whole area is a fill area. It's been filled over the years, for many, many years. Contractor owned the property and has used it for many years to fill the site with construction debris.
I guess it's that thing that was confused. Being that I lived down there for a lot of years. So on this diagram, they're calling it Loomis Parkway. Should that state Lover's Lane?
So
You
it's-
mentioned Dunlevy in the corner
Yeah.
there. For most of the people that live down there, Loomis Parkway goes from Chestnut to 14. Lover's Lane is back to Infirmary or up over the hill and down. I don't know how.
So in the city limits, it's considered Loomis Parkway. In the township, it's Lover's Lane.
So we're looking at the section on the corner of 14 Chestnut, and we're running
That is correct.
and your question's a very valid one because for many years, there was flood issues there. My family worked through them for a lot of years. And actually, there was a natural stream that ran through there. And at some point in time,
It was rerouted.
the state came out and rerouted it because they had 3 lawsuits in court.
Hmm.
So, to my knowledge today, there still is water issues because I know 14 floods every now and then, about halfway down the Infirmary Road. So, we're saying that that's all figured in here and taken care of.
Yes.
I look at this drawing, I look at everything here, and is there enough land there to do that?
Yes.
It does seem like a narrow strip when you drive by.
We should chase rabbits and pheasants.
And there'll be no rabbit and pheasant chasing while you're in there?
No.
Okay.
Unless the VA wants it, then maybe. If I could make one comment, looking at the elevation here, the rendering you guys have, it's a much, much lighter building than what it's coming off as. It's like a brown gray brick, not a, looks black. Shading. Yeah, okay, no, it's close. It's just the angle that I'm at, have a shadow on it.
You're asking for our approval to
Correct.
continue on,
Site plan approval, that is correct.
and what's the timetable if this all
Starting. So right now, we are in DID conversations with the DPA, which is basically just asking for their approval on the floor plan, site plan, and elevations. We expect that pretty much imminently. We've already applied for a NOI from the Ohio EPA, which we got, I believe, Monday.
I'm sorry, NOI?
Notice of intent
Okay.
with the EPA, which they went ahead and signed off on our stormwater erosion control plans. And we anticipate if the VA approves our DID set, that we would start moving dirt around April, maybe May, to be able to get the pad ready so that we're basically dried in by winter. So we expect it imminently, next 2-3 months.
So you're asking us for approval on the site plan, but
Yeah.
the site plan has not been approved by your client.
The VA has approved the site plan, that hasn't approved the full DIDs. Design
I'm
intent
sorry,
drawings. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what is it?
The design intent drawings. The site plan's more or less been approved. They've signed off on it. They're just waiting on the floor plan approval, which is essentially just making sure we have the lighting fixtures where we want them to be and the power and electrical right in the right locations in the room.
But it's not been approved.
Yes, that's correct. The DIDs have not been approved.
Okay. So if we give your approval, they go back and they have a question and they say, yeah, this doesn't work. You're coming back here for another approval.
For the site plan.
Is that how that works?
If there's a change to the site plan, that would be substantial, yes.
Okay.
For instance, ingress, egress, shape of building, size of building, anything that would substantially change. But I believe what he's referring to would be the interior stuff. You know, I don't think planning commission cares where the water line enters a building, or, you know, necessarily, you know, at this location, lighting, for instance, should not be intrusive to a resident, because there's no residence. Hospital sits far enough back, it shouldn't be an issue. So ultimately, planning commission's looking more at ingress, egress, building, you know, is there enough parking, that sort of thing.
And is there enough parking?
Yes. Dr. Calfee,
Question about the.
could you please state your name and your address for the record?
Tim Calfee, 910 Murray Avenue. Looking at the site plan, the building sits fairly close to State Route 14. And I'm wondering about sound blocking, any type of landscaping on that side, and how they plan to do that for the building. Whether there's going to be an embankment for sound, the trees, what's the plan on the site in that way?
So I think we have a 60-foot easement in between there and the highway. For the VA, the building in the interior is quite built out, so they have a good amount of soundproofing and everything they need there. It'll be heavily, we have to meet SCC ratings on the inside per VA spec, which I think is 50 or 47. So the interior of the building will be quiet per their design. That is all counted in. And in terms of landscaping, we haven't come up with a landscaping plan quite yet. We can get with our civil engineer and get that information back to you. But we would be open to putting something on the highway also, new trees or some sort of bushes.
Your site plan does show a row of trees.
Yeah.
Obviously, you haven't identified the species of trees, I would assume.
There will be native trees, but we haven't identified the specific species.
And it appears there is going to be an outdoor patio seating area
Yes.
also? Okay. That looks to be to the west side of the property?
Yeah, on the staff entry side.
Okay. So it's primarily for the staff, not the patient?
Yes. Yeah.
Any further questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve the site plan as submitted.
Second? Josh, whatever.
Can we call roll?
Yep. All right. Mr. Hairston? Yes. Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Mr. Content?
Yes.
Mr. Barber?
Yes.
All right, so motion carries. Your site plan is approved.
Awesome.
All right, wish you luck, and you'll be talking to Tiffany and I as you move forward.
Awesome. Do you guys want the hard copies of these as well? Hydrology and the general full site plan?
Sure, yeah, if you wanted them there, that's fine. We'll take them with us.
All right.
That's great, thank you. Any further discussion items we would like to discuss? At the last meeting, I had discussed Mark and Carmen and I getting together to further discuss Airbnbs. We have not done that. There was some brief email dialogue. Carmen's been busy, Mark's been busy, and I'm just sitting around waiting for these guys to show up. So I've got nothing else to do. So we haven't forgotten about it, we're working on it. All right, our next meeting is scheduled for March 25th, as long as we have an agenda item.
Well, I guess you say you're gonna be working on that. There was a little bit of pressure to get something moving on that, so you guys are still well aware of that one.
Yes.
So do we need, at the next meeting, to be able to discuss that?
Well, if possible, we would try to get together and So what I've done to this point is I sent our existing code to Mark and Carmen and asked that we start with what we have, excuse me, what we currently have as transient housing and modify our existing to what, to what could be a workable document, come back to planning commission, further discuss it. So I don't know that that's gonna expedite the process, but it's a good starting point. We're not starting from scratch. Would you like to be involved, Bill?
I think at this point, you've got two others and you, and I think, that'll be good. I mean, because I think if you have a small enough team, you can start putting stuff together without it, everybody jumping on. So I think I'll listen to those three capable people. My concern is I know the city council is looking for something from us. And I'm sure, the people in town in that area are concerned about stuff as well.
Being a resident on that street, have you had issues?
I have
To
not.
this point? Okay. Have you met the lady, the owner?
No, I was hoping to meet her last meeting.
Yeah, well, she's cognizant enough of the situation to realize she doesn't want to get pushed in front of a bus, so she didn't come. She's actually a very intelligent lady that you'd probably find pleasure talking to.
If
We
she
were
comes
very
into town,
pleased when-
tell her to knock on my door.
Well, she claims she lives there. So. Okay, good at that.
Right.
All right.
Quick solution to restrict them to R3 and R4? Or is that too simplistic?
Yeah, so we have a couple on Main Street in Central Business District, and in this case, there's R2. Liberty is R2. The difficult part is policing it, and that is the most difficult part. They could have a rental. They could be utilizing structure as an Airbnb for 6 months before we even find out. That's the difficult part. It doesn't show up in the county auditor's website. Somebody complains and then we investigate. And then we have to, we deal with that even in rentals. Somebody, the owner, tax address doesn't match the address, so we try to get a hold of them, talk to them. Oh, no, I live there, or my family lives there. It's the games that they play. That's the difficult part. We want to be successful, and we should be collecting, as our ordinance states, for transient housing. Another layer of the ordinance would be, what if they live there? Is it a Airbnb? Is it bed and breakfast? That's the tough part. So right now, we're going to consider them as rental properties. But again, our code does specifically state family plus 2 non-related. So there is a workaround for almost everything. That's the tough part. Obviously, I'm willing to work on it, but those are the things in my back of my mind of being successful with this, not being challenged or that sort of thing. Well, if there's no further discussion, we will close the meeting. You're officially adjourned.
Oh, don't you have to vote?
What do we need?
All in favor,
A motion
say
to
aye.
adjourn, all right, yeah. A motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we got
Yay. Aye.
first and second over there.
Josh and Harold.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Do that with unanimous consent.
What's that?
I think the chair can do that with unanimous consent.
Okay.
Yeah, because anybody would have said no.
Yeah, Billy and I are,
Meeting at 9, so don't worry about it.
yeah.
I got it.